Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we are talking about Star Wars Legion, Shadow Collective, the Shadow Collective Wave, and all of the box art that you see before you. We're going to be talking about this because we got some cool little spoilery things to talk about in today's video. Spoiler warning, all this stuff that you're about to see, you can see right now. It's not really a spoiler, is it? But we already know the Shadow Collective's coming, and I've already talked about Saxon. I think I've talked about most of everything that you're going to see here, but it's kind of cool. We see box art because we get a little bit more information. If you guys are new here to the channel, we are still giving away a $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. Also, big thanks to Luxury Playstyle for sponsoring this video. Be sure to head over to luxuryplaystyle.com, get some amazing full metal tokens. They are gorgeous. You're going to save 15% by using code Crabbok VIP. Also, orders $35 or more, you're going to get a free lightsaber nunchuck Crabbok token thrown in while supplies last. All right, guys. This is pretty awesome. This came out of the German Asmodee site yesterday, and there's a lot of cool stuff that we can see here. And I imagine we're gonna get the the full announcements, kind of spoilery announcement of all of this stuff. But I wanted to kind of dive into some of this. So we've got our box art for the Shadow Collective. This is gonna be kind of a starter here. To the left of it, we've got basically an essentials kit that is going to allow for this smaller starter to not necessarily have to have everything with it. So what that does is that brings the cost down. Star Wars Armada started doing the same thing with their dial upgrade kit. Like when they had single faction starters for Armada, they also came out with like these extra little kind of essentials kits. They didn't call them essentials kits, but every game can has approached this in a slightly different way. But all the games have kind of done this, including X-Wing, where they give you a single faction starter and then they have this optional little buy. And so this way, if you want to get two of the Shadow Collection boxes, you're not stuck getting like 2 copies of all the objective stuff and 2 copies of all the the number tokens. And there's things that we can see in here. We zoom in, right? You've got you've got certain tokens. You've got the numbered tokens. You got round counter. You got objective tokens, condition tokens, a commander token, like the basic things that you'd need to play the game. And that's the kind of stuff that you're going to find in there. Stuff that, in theory, a existing player will not need. But I'll still be picking one up, and we'll do an unboxing and stuff just for the sake of consistency on the channel. So if you're curious about how that box is laid out and what all is in there, whenever that does come out, I'll pick one up and we'll go through it. Plus, it's a good idea to have extra copies of stuff once in a while. But having bought many starters in the past, I probably won't need anything that's in there. But that also allows the cost of the Shadow Collective core box to kind of be a little bit lower than it would have been otherwise, and so that's kind of a good thing. You cut down on kind of waste. How many of us kind of have so many token overload where we throw away punch board and stuff? I don't use so many of the that many of the punch board stuff anyway because I use the luxury playstyle tokens. But if we go down lower, we're going to see a couple of things. First off, we were talking about Imperial Super Commandos. And these definitely are the Mandalorians. It's not an Imperial expansion. We can see in the bottom right-hand corner of the box, it does have that mercenary symbol. These are mercs. These are not Imperial units. And it doesn't even appear to be a dual faction pack. Although, granted, we do know that between the Black Sun and the Pikes, they can go into other factions. So even though this isn't labeled as a dual faction pack, it doesn't mean that they won't ever be able to go into another faction. Right now, they can only go in Shadow Collective that we know of. But I'm still kind of holding out hope that there will be a Saxon Imperial Super Commando option for the Empire at some point, because we saw that in Star Wars Rebels. So I think it would be thematic, and it would make sense since every faction has Mandalorians. In X-Wing at least, and certainly in the canon, right? Everybody's got Mandalorians allied with them at some point in their timelines, so or working for them, whether it's against their will or unbeknownst to them or whatever. But everybody's got an argument for Mandalorians on their side, and that's the big one for the Empire. I guess you have Boba Fett also, right? And so we've got our Black Sun pack. We've kind of already seen most of these minis in the original preview for the Shadow Collective, but again, it's further confirmation. This one we expected, but hadn't actually had it spoiled yet. But there will be a Black Sun pack. And the cool thing for this too is, like, you might be able to get away with just getting one of these and then one of everything else. And what I'm curious about is if there's going to be any special reason to get these packs, or versus just getting 2 Shadow Collective packs. What I mean by that is, in the past, for a lot, but not necessarily all of the packs, when you would buy one of these expansion packs that's something that already came in a starter, there was some little incentive or some little bonus to get this in a pack, as opposed to just getting more of it in the starter. The reason you might want to get the starter instead is because the starters are usually kind of a bundle, so you get stuff at a discount. So it was always very cost effective to just buy, multiple starters, especially if you were splitting them with a friend who was doing one faction and you were doing another. But, it wasn't very cost effective, like, especially in the case of like B1 battle droids, right? It wasn't as cost effective to just buy extra core boxes, because those are like $30 each, versus, hey, you know what, for $100 I can just get this core set and, and kind of do it that way. And you get so much more, considering, the original core sets, you get 2 commanders, which again, you can only use one of them, but then you get 2 core for each side, and then you get a support for each side. You get a lot of stuff, plus dice and extra movement tools and barricades and all that other extra stuff. It was really great value for starting out. So in the past, basically, they've given you like an alternate sculpt or an upgrade card that like comes in this pack but not in any other packs, and stuff like that. And they've done that in the past. Now, I don't think they're going to go the route of the upgrade card, because of the upgrade card pack right here featuring Boba Fett. If you'll notice, this has all 4 factions plus the Merc symbol. And so this is the second upgrade card pack. Very, very cool. Now, AMG did talk about doing another upgrade card pack. This is going to have the Bounty Hunter cards in there. You can see, you've got Bounty Hunters on the artwork here. I zoom in a little bit more. You can already see, like, look at that. Cad Bane is over there. I think you see in Bosk in the background art right below. I think that's Bosk right there. So yeah, again, you are getting, Cad Bane, Bosk, and Boba Fett converted into the basically Merc faction. However, they will still have options to be able to go into some of the existing factions, but they're going to be reworked, and we don't know how they're going to end up looking when the paint is dry, so to speak. So when we get those previews, I'll be bringing them to you. That'll be exciting. But there's going to be a lot of upgrades in here too. A lot of things that I guess that are needed since the first upgrade card pack. And this is also a big recommended buy for new players kind of coming into the game for the Shadow Collective. They're like, hey, I need all these upgrades from all these other expansions. Oh, where can I get Burst of Speed? Where can I get, Protector? Or where can I get, Force Guidance? And where can I get all these other things like that? All of these upgrade cards that you might need that have been, onesie twosied over the different expansions. Theoretically, you should be able to get in this pack. We don't have an exact list of the contents for this pack, but that is what that's going to be. And last but not least, we've got Saxon. Definitely not an Imperial version of him in this art here. This definitely appears to be the Mandalorian Saxon from Star Wars Rebels Season 7, not the version we see in Star Wars Rebels where he is loyal to the Empire. Now, again, I've already talked about this guy. I did speculate that maybe, just maybe, he would end up being able to go in the Empire as well. And it certainly doesn't look like it's a dual faction pack like I had hoped. But then again, we already know the Pikes can go in the Empire as well as all factions. So the Pikes also don't happen to have an Empire symbol. So we really can't judge what factions he'll be able to go in by the fact that they're a Merc and this is the symbol that's on there, right? The card itself will be a Merc. He may be able to go into the Empire. He may not. They may wait for a separate version of him. But if he can go into the Empire, I wonder if they'll give him multiple head sculpts. I know the armor is different, but I think a lot of that you can get away with paint. The helmet is the biggest significant difference between, I think the most significant difference between, this version of him, and then the Imperial version. Obviously, there are other differences, but the helmet's going to be the one that you see that stands out the most. So I think they should offer you a helmetless option with him at a bare minimum. If you decide to use him as Imperial, I think that'd be pretty cool. And they usually tend to do that, especially for named characters. You know, Iden Versio, all the Inferno Squad people, Callus. You know, like a lot of these people have helmeted and helmetless options. So I would expect Gar Saxon to have the same. So if he does end up getting used in the Empire, helmetless is probably going to make him fit the theme a little bit better. And he's helmetless at least in one scene in just about every showing. So that's everything, right? And this is still scheduled for June of 2022. We are also supposed to have the rest of the battle forces announced before Mini Stravaganza, also, which is slated for June. So they had initially kind of said it was coming. I think I had speculated it could be April. It looks like the battle forces will probably be out either late May or early June right now, based on some of the estimations. It sounds like they're awaiting like licensor approval for everything. Like it's all done. Will Schick even talked about it being laid out and kind of like submitted basically. So they just have to wait for like the thumbs up, and then once that happens, then they can release them. And the goal is to release them before all of this comes out in June of 2022. Now, it still could be that they come out in June. It might just be like a week before. But a cool thing about this that I think is especially cool with the Essentials kit, that allows them to come out with basically single faction starters. And the way that those are going to come out is through the battle forces. So they talked a little bit about this on a recent live stream, and I want to talk about this more in another video, but I guess I'm going to wait until we know a little bit more about the battle forces and how they're going to look. Because we have a pretty good idea, but we don't have all of that information. We've had some leaks, and there's definitely room for more spoilery stuff. But while the battle forces are going to be available via a free PDF, they also will be physical product that's coming with them. And it definitely seems like it's going to be a box very much like the Shadow Collective box right here. It definitely seems like that. So I think that's awesome for a number of reasons. I am one of these people who I bought a lot of stuff when Legion first came out. So I have 6 Rebel Troopers, 6 Stormtroopers. Actually, I think I bought 8 total units of Stormtroopers over the years. Because like one unit of Stormtroopers, I cut all their heads off and turned them into space balls, and things like that. And then some of them I ended up being painted really badly and stuff like that. But either way, I still want Stormtroopers to show up in hard plastic, and Snow Troopers too. I think I want everything to show up in hard plastic. And Battle Forces is a really great way to give you an excuse to buy some new units that maybe you already have, that you don't have to buy because you can use the free stuff. But for those of you who want, hey, I want a hard plastic version of Rebel Troopers. I want better looking Rebel Troopers than the ones that I have already. I definitely do. I want better looking Stormtroopers than the ones I have already. I definitely do. In all of those things. The fleets actually look pretty good, but I'll take another unit of fleets. I only have 2 units of fleet troopers, but I have a lot of snow troopers. I have 5 snow troopers right now. Not all of them am I proud of. One of them I experimented with different types of paint and painting techniques, and they're like miserable looking, so I probably won't ever use those. But yeah, I'm ready to buy some new stuff. I don't know if I really want to buy another ATST though, but if there's an ATST that comes with Blizzard Force, and if it allows for 3 ATSTs, maybe. Anyway, but all that stuff, my point is, all that stuff is possible because of this Essentials kit we see over in the top left. Because now it's a great starting point, which means I am going to drastically have to redo my what to buy first when on a budget video for Legion, for all of the factions. That's gonna change. I'm gonna have to do a 5th one too. I'm gonna have to do a Shadow Collective. What to buy first for mercs and for and I just need to figure out how that's going to work, because not all mercs will necessarily be Shadow Collective, and so like it's although I believe all Shadow Collective will be mercs. I think so. I don't think you'll be able to use the CIS operative version of Darth Maul in Although you will be able to use his command cards on this mall. I don't think you'll be able to use that actual mini. So, which would be kind of cool if you could, but I don't think that that's going to be the case. Either way, I can't wait to see how all this looks. As more information comes out, I will be bringing it to you guys. All right, that is going to wrap up today's video. I can talk and talk and talk about every little kind of spoilery thing that they give us, because it's really exciting. I've been having a lot of fun with Legion lately, and I'm really excited for more of it. And of course, as we get closer to a new wave, it's also super exciting. Cannot wait. All right, guys. Thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing. Be sure to check the links in the description below. Love to have you join our Discord, Patreon, Crabbok.com, social media, all that good stuff. May the force be with you. And always wash your feet and wear clean socks as often as you can, unless you're at the beach. Then you probably don't need socks. Or if you're in space, then you need more than just socks.